First off, I suppose I should congratulate my brand new friends over at 1117 Studios for following through on my dare of reviewing Masters of Terraskasi on the PlayStation 1. They were incredibly good sports about playing that game because it is f***ing terrible. In turn, they challenged me to play the 1997 PC desktop adventure Yoda Stories. Yoda Stories is often referred to as being the worst Star Wars game ever, or at least one of. But if you follow our channel here, then you'll know that I like to be positive about everything we cover. So I want to try and be positive about Yoda Stories, and for that I think I might need a little help. So, where do I begin? A little bit of history, I suppose. Yoda Stories was developed in 1997 by LucasArts. The project was led by LucasArts employee Hal Borwood. Borwood had co-written the screenplay for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and also had co-written Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, so the pedigree was looking good. Going into this, it's important to realise that LucasArts were not trying to make another big adventure game. This was the golden age of the LucasArts adventure game after all. No, what they were doing here is they were trying to make cheap, short, enjoyable games. If you are old enough to remember the Microsoft Entertainment Packs, you'll remember games like Chip's Challenge or Rodent's Revenge, really simple one-screen games where you move around in a grid and you just have to solve like 2 or 3 little objectives before moving on to the next level. Well, I guess LucasArts saw this and they were like, hey, there's some good money to be made here. Let's kind of push some of our franchises into that. And so they did it with Indiana Jones and it worked pretty well, and so then they decided to do it with Star Wars. They're basically trying to make Star Wars Minesweeper. The game's set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and sees Luke Skywalker taking out Jedi missions all across the galaxy. There are 15 mission types and they go to one of several different planets. Although the planets change in names, they are all a desert planet, a jungle planet, and an ice planet. Hey look, Yoda's sending us to Tatooine. To what? What? Can't even spell the name of the planet right. Literally unplayable. Use the mouse or the keyboard to move around the tile-based environment. Essentially, you're just looking for items to open up the next thing. If you've played Link's Awakening on the Game Boy Color, then you'll kind of be familiar with this Peter to Paul adventure game style. Get the drill to open the door, which gives you the key card, which you use to open the other door, which gets you the Tabana gas, which you give to the man, who then gives you the transponder, which you can use to repair the droid, which opens up the thing, which lets you get the thing. It's fair enough for a little distraction like this. The interesting thing about this is that each map is randomly generated each time you land on it. So whilst you might have done the Ice Planet level before, or you might have done the one where you need to get Han out of Carbonite, all the items are in different locations and the map is a different shape. So you still have to move around and explore to get your way through it. Once you've completed 5 missions, you'll unlock Luke's green lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. That's pretty cool. If you defeat the game 10 times, you get your Force powers upgraded, so it's like unlimited power. And if you beat the game 15 times, you get 1 extra life, which is like the worst. There is no real end to the game, it just endlessly generates these little tools. They're supposed to be a fun little thing that you would do on like your work break or if you've got 15 minutes in between jobs. Now that is good in essence. Unfortunately, the practice doesn't always work out the same way. Unlike Minesweeper or Chip's Challenge, those games take like what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to play? In Yoda Stories, every game I've played has taken at least 40 minutes to complete. In fact, one of them took me well over 2 hours. The games take so long to play out because they're often so obtuse. No, it really just comes down to how much time do I actually want to put in just to walking around this f***ing map trying to find a transponder to put in a droid. It doesn't really work in that whole Star Wars Minesweeper ethos that LucasArts were clearly trying to do. Due to the random generation of all the dungeons and the little levels, I think Yoda Stories is probably the only Star Wars roguelite, and certainly one of the first roguelites in history. Whilst we're on the positives, I do have to say the art style's really nice. This kind of small, top-down, almost Legend of Zelda kind of style, really nice. The little pixel art dudes are really cute as well. Even though the sprites are really small, you can still see what everyone's supposed to be. That's quite nice. You gotta love all the little attention to detail though. That's what LucasArts games are all about. And Yoda Stories doesn't shy away from that either. Just walking around Tatooine, I was treated to lots of nice little bits of fan service. Oh cool, there's a crate dragon. Oh awesome, it's the Jawas and the Sandcrawler. Uncle Owen, this R2 unit has a bad motivator. That almost made wandering around these maps bearable. There's no music whatsoever. Most of the game takes place in total silence. Every now and then just absolutely f***ing blasting you with an obscenely loud bit of CD audio. I said at the beginning that I was going to try and be positive. I think somehow I ended up not fulfilling that promise. Fair enough. Yoda Stories is pretty f***ing terrible. I wouldn't recommend you play it. You've seen in this video everything this game has to offer. If you are desperate to play a really obscure piece of LucasArts software, which isn't for sale anywhere, and you have to buy a physical copy of, then I guess go ahead if you're that curious. But if you are just looking for good Star Wars games, then yeah, this is one to avoid. I do want to end on a positive note, because I don't want to shit all over this work. It wasn't intended to be an all bells and whistles high-budget LucasArts game. It was intended to be a short little 10-minute game that you play in between better things. I can see a seed in this that could be developed into a better game in the 21st century. I could see a small mobile developer or an indie developer picking up this idea, and I could see them making some pretty cool little indie games out of it. Just kind of short little missions where you're running about doing Jedi business. I'd play that. That sounds cool. I really hope you enjoyed my video about Yoda Stories. Thanks again to the dudes at 1117 Studios. They've been doing 2 great series about gaming. One called That Exists, in which they look at weird random games from across history. That's where they covered Master of the Terras Kasi. And they also did Games You May Have Missed, which they interestingly concurrently reviewed the Jedi Knight games whilst I was doing mine. If you like old PC games and you want to see more, then hit that subscribe button. Well, that's it. Ta-da for now.